Hello, this is Sir Atheist. I'm doing a redo of my video Atheist Manifesto, where I unsuccessfully tried to read from this. Didn't work. I'm not pleased with that video, so I'm doing a redo in which I basically state my general stance towards all of the most important and the most controversial issues in modern society. So if you watch the previous video, I'm just repeating most of what was said there. So, without ado, I consider all human life to be sacred, and I'm against the death penalty. The death penalty is, in my opinion, completely pointless, since the criminal can no longer feel any regret, and we're all gonna be dead anyway for an eternity, so what's the point of the death penalty? I find that the life imprisonment is by far the most suitable punishment for the most unforgivable or irredeemable crimes. That said, I fully support pacifism. I believe that violence should only be employed as a last resort, and only in the case of immediate danger or defending oneself from or others from a direct physical assault. I'm against the so-called extreme pacifism, which is even against valid forms of self-defense. That is, against any form of providing resistance to the evildoer, as taught by Jesus, for example. I find such behavior to be completely immoral. If you're not fighting evil, then you're not being a responsible individual. You're helping evil, basically. And similarly, nations should wage wars only in the case of either immediate danger or under the mandate of the Security Council, if it has to be some sort of an internationalist war where some poor population is saved from whatever. I support all forms of free speech. I think that's a very good thing, except that which calls for death, violence, or suppression of legitimate rights towards an individual or a group of individuals. I'm against all forms of libel and slander. However, I support all forms of mockery or satire. I believe mockery and satire is a very important part of the health of our modern day society, as it demystifies the evil, the corrupt, the powerful, the malice, and the hubris that's ever present in our society. I support all freedom of religious and philosophical belief that, again, does not call for death, violence, or suppression of legitimate rights of any individual or group, or which causes severe, grievous physical or psychological harm to its own believers. I believe that religions, which understandably their archaic texts contain many things that are not acceptable in the modern day society, but I do believe that religions with such text should be required by law to provide a modern interpretation and clarification of such controversial passages, so that such passages can never be used by religious fundamentalists. I believe parents should have the right to educate their children in the religion of their own choice. However, I oppose all religion which denies children basic education, medical treatment, or causes bodily harm to children or grievous psychological harm. In that spirit, I believe that male circumcision should be done only at birth with anesthesia, of course, or when an individual is is a consenting adult. And I condemn all other forms of male or female genital mutilation, unless again it's the case of a consenting adult. I oppose labeling children with the religion of their parents. I believe we don't have Christian or atheist children. We only have children of Christian or atheist parents. And I support the right of a child to form its own spiritual beliefs starting at the age of 10 to 12, and to be able to decline to participate or be a member of a religious organization. To protect children from cults, I do believe parents should be allowed to restrict their children from joining a religious organization until they are fully mature, at which point I support the right of an individual to choose his or her own religion. I'm pro-choice. I don't consider the fetus to be a human being any more than I consider a bunch of bricks, a hole in the ground, and a blueprint to be a house. The first trimester is more than a suitable boundary between non-humanness and humanness, just as 18 is a suitable but arbitrary boundary between child and adult. In this day and age, having a child is an important responsibility, and parents must be given one last chance to decide after finding out they're pregnant whether they want to commit to this responsibility. And I condemn couples and parents and individuals which lack child planning, even if they're married, and have children without proper means to take care of them. I'm for legalization of marijuana or any other drug that can be proved to be less addictive and harmful than already legal drugs, such as alcohol and tobacco. However, I'm strongly against all drug use. I think that's a very bad idea, a very detrimental thing to do to oneself. I support all forms of sexuality among consenting adults, except of course in the case of martial infidelity without consent. I find that the acceptable level of public displays of affection is hugging, holding hands, and kissing. I condemn, of course, rape and pedophilia. However, I also condemn any form of public shaming of individuals accused of these crimes until they have been proven guilty. I believe that such a false accusation can unjustifiably completely ruin a person's life. I support equality of opportunity among all races, nations, genders, sexual orientations, levels of physical disability. I support remedial measures for demonstratively disadvantaged groups. However, I don't think that affirmative action is a good long-term strategy, as I find it very ineffective and divisive. And I condemn the rampant but unacknowledged discrimination in our society based on physical attractiveness. Oh, and I am for strict gun control. The safety should be the responsibility of the government. So, these are my views on the most basic and controversial issues, and if you have any comments or suggestions based on them, just feel free to reply.